time's the charm. I forgot to put my dog out. Then I put my dog out, and my wife thought the dog should come in because the dog wanted to come in because the dog always wants to be by me. Anyway, here we are again. Just doing a little quick follow-up. I got in a discussion on Facebook about heads, hands, bodies, Bison, World Box, all this kind of stuff. And I thought I'd just do another. I know I've done a video in the past about bodies and whatnot, but I thought I would do another one just to kind of, give like another little overview of the whole options and everything else. There's a lot of options out there. I know they were talking about, what heads go with what, and there's a lot of factors. So I was just going to cover some of that stuff today in a quick video. So, the most obvious thing is heads. So you can see here, this is the same head sculpt, but one has hair back, one has hair down. And you can see it on a larger body and a smaller body. This is one of the smaller bodies that Bison offers. Don't ask me numbers because I can't remember. I'll put something up here, but I don't remember numbers at all. I'm terrible with that. It's the smaller one. One of the smallest, actually. And you can see that this head looks crazy on this body. Now that maybe someone would like that. I don't know. Maybe they like an Alice in Wonderland looking feel. But you can see the difference it makes on a larger body. And a lot of this is hit or miss. I've purchased the first head I purchased for this figure came in. It was Claire here. I had this one on this side. I purchased the body or the head to go with this body, but because of the skin tone, it didn't work. So you have head size, you have skin tone, and body, basically. So those factors do come into play, and a lot of times it's super frustrating for me. As you can see, I have a lot of figures to play with. So sometimes I'll get a head and the head is too small or too tan, too pale, and I'll just find a different body that I already own to pop it onto. So that happens. But you can see it's a drastic difference. And this is the head that usually goes on that body, and it's a much smaller head. And so when you have it on there, it looks much better. So that's something to take into consideration. And a lot of it is you got to pay attention to the whole thing about whether they call out pale or tan. And even in those cases, sometimes they call it out and it's not true. So you just kind of have to wing it. So that's a little tricky. So that is a factor. And there's, since we don't have shops that we can actually walk into and physically see a lot of stuff here in the United States, it makes it even more difficult. So it is tricky. Again, if you're getting into the hobby, you could get like a pale body and a tan body, and then you're kind of covered. And if you got four, you can get pale, tan, in like a large body, small body as well. So yeah, it's just that kind of game. So that's one thing there. There is a pretty good, consideration for the pale and tan and whatnot. Some cases are very obvious, like with Cindy here, the one in the black. She's pale, and her head was pale, and it's just pale, pale, pale. When you start getting into these heads, it's a little trickier because it's like, how tan is tan, So that's tricky. So that's pretty much that. A lot of hit or miss. You can always ask questions. Sometimes people have the head sculpt, and you can, put it out there in the world on Instagram or Facebook and say, hey, does anyone have this head sculpt? I'm looking for it. I'd like to see it. What body it matches, and people are usually pretty helpful. So that's that. Secondly, hands. Now the hands work. You can see a little hole there. There's some hands that have a peg that comes off, and the peg goes into the arm. That's one type. These types do fit the both the Fison and the World Box, so that's nice. And so the difference is, these are usually the hands that come with the Fisons. They're not bad, you know, they're hands, but they are a little, sometimes they can be a little plain, a little bland. What I've started doing is ordering, let me zoom in here, these hands, which are very nice. They're, I don't know, there's a little more sculpt to them, a little more energy. You can see here, this is just a Fison balled up hand. But even the balled up hand, you can see here, of this other company, I will put up. Once I know what it is, I'll put it on the screen. It looks much different, and it just has a nice color to it. It has some shading, you can see on the knuckles and stuff. And so when it's on the figure, it looks pretty nice. Let's see a couple of versions here. So that's another thing that you can do to kind of upgrade your Fison and World Box selections. Instead of just having the standard hands, you can buy these. I think the set was, I want to say $15 or something for the whole set. So that's not bad, but it does add a lot to, especially now I'm doing all these spells and stuff. It really adds a lot to that rather than just the plain hand. So that's something else to take into consideration. These are Fison offerings here. Fison is kind of my go-to as far as seamless goes. The Gyodol offerings are good, but they do have some weird things that happen with the skin sometimes. There's been some peeling that happens. You know, the look is good. Like, I like how Claire looks here. This is a Gyo. And it's still seamless and everything else. And it has, you know, they have some different body types. So you may be looking for a body type. Claire is very, very tiny, but tall. She's thin and tall. And so you may be looking for something like that. So that's something to take into consideration as well. You have Cindy here, and again in the black, you can see how muscular her legs are and stuff. So if you're looking for a specific look like that, you may want to do a different company over, I don't want to say quality, but just, you know, Fison is like the go-to when it comes to seamless. And they do have a lot of offerings as far as like muscular offerings and you know, taller, shorter. But if you want a figure that is more like a Claire, you know, you may find a body type that you like that is a different company, and that's perfectly acceptable too. So that's the Fison stuff. Then we have World Box. World Box is knocking it out of the park these days as well. They make male and female figures. A lot of, you know, super muscular males and you know, different body types for the females. So you can see here across the board, there's a wide range of stuff that World Box does, including this crazy wasp waist figure and muscular figure. They're really trying to kind of up the body options that you have. And then they also have, let me see if I have Zoe here. Different kind of chest, I just hit my dog's water bowl. Chest options as well. You can see Zoe here is very busty, and that's an add-on kind of feature. This is like a standard bust, but then you can get larger busts if you want, and it's just very modular. So you basically take the chest piece off, put the new chest piece on, and voila, you're set. You can see get my finger in here somewhere. There we go. The smaller World Box offering just a standard body. Then you have like a wider hip offering here, and the super muscular offering. You see the muscles in there. Comes with 2 sets of arms, a very muscular set and a kind of muscular but not overdone. This is the super muscular set, and this is the muscular but not overdone. And then you have the standard arm there. So lots of offerings, and since it is modular, you can kind of mix and match as well, which is kind of fun. So I took the arms that came with the muscular figure and put them on the wide hip figure, so it gives a different look. So that's kind of nice. And again, these hands, they work really well with these figures. You know, they look nice. This is the standard World Box hand, and this is the hand that I was talking about earlier, the little set there. So once you start really getting into it and finding out what you are going for, as far as your figures go, you have a lot of different options. So it makes it difficult when someone asks, like, what do I get into? You kind of have to dive in and figure out what look you're going for. I've tried to help people in the past where it's just like, I'm trying to get a Wonder Woman look. And so I'll send, like, you know, it's like, what kind of Wonder Woman? It's like, oh, like Gal Gadot. And then I'll send like, oh, this is I found like a perfect Gal Gadot body. And then in this particular case, the person was like, yeah, I want the boobs bigger though. And I'm like, well, I can't help you there, man. Like, so it really takes all kinds. I'm not doing, you know, so much on the sexy side, on the photography side of things. I'm telling a witch story. So, you know, if you're into that, that's great, and you definitely have options. But you have to look for those options and figure out what's right for you. So the big thing is just, you know, making sure that you look for that pale tan, you know, kind of thing. Try to figure out what head will go with it. Most of the heads, like I could probably take most of these guys and pop them on over here, with the exception of the smaller body here, and it would look fine as far as size-wise goes. But you know, when you get into the skin tone and stuff, that's a little different. So you just have to figure out what you're going for, and then, you know, don't be afraid to ask questions. There's a lot of people like me who will spend a lot of time trying to sort stuff out for you. I've sourced stuff. There was a friend of mine who wanted to build a Taylor Swift doll, and I figured out the head, the body, all that kind of stuff. He ended up not doing it, but you know, there's people out there who will help you if you have questions, and that's about it. You just have to kind of wing it. Like I said, in my case, I'm lucky. I've been in the hobby for a long time, and I've gotten a lot of figures, and I'm able to kind of mix and match and kind of play around with what goes with what, as far as, you know, if I do buy a head and it's the wrong tone, I can always just swap it out for a different body. So like that there. So yeah, you know, again, on the question front, if you have additional questions after seeing this video and you want to ask them, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook. I'll put links in the bottom there. And then you can always send topics that you're interested in, and let me know if there's anything that you're looking for that you need more information on, and I will do my best to answer it. Maybe it could even be another video like this. This is just cracking me up, this giant head thing. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I will talk with you soon.